Pennies Going in Raw is a production of iHeartRadio. The opinions expressed in the following podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide education and entertainment about the financial industry and the stock market. Enjoy!
On this episode of Pennies Going in Raw, we discuss the effects of a post-COVID world on many stocks, some earnings, and Netflix.
You find out life's this game of pennies.
Oh, you guys know we only have a 40% runner. Hello, 40% is a fucking killing.
We've been compliant for too long. It's time we go to war.
I don't have a Roth.
Hugh knows so much about the market that his brain doesn't have enough room for grammar.
Hey, who told me about IDEX? It's going up a shit ton now.
We're up 4%, baby. No way. 4 fucking percent.
You asked the exact same question with 2 words different.
It's like, man, I just got dick whipped for like 20%, and now that f***er's up like 50.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
I'm just making this voice memo to call out unusual whales to a fight.
The pennies we need are everywhere around us.
Pennies.
Going in Raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity Dips,
And Hugh Henny.
Produced by Vinny.
And Christian.
Let's go, baby.
Welcome back to another episode of Pennies Going in Raw. Today, Wednesday, 420, baby. I didn't even know it's tomorrow. Recording this on Tuesday as we are in the effects of Netflix just dying out. Let's see how much it's at 260 right now. It's down around 23% from the day. Down from 350 when it closed all the way down to 260. I mean, during the peak of COVID, maybe a little after, it was all the way up to like 720. Big drop. Obviously, it's one of those things you're like, damn, like, is this a buy zone? Because I use Netflix all the time. One of the big reasons earnings is bad is because it's down 200,000 users. Okay, whatever. You think the more people that quit Netflix, I imagine there's got to be, and I just thought about this on spot. Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think there may be some effect with Netflix because so many people share accounts that if a lot of people quit, there is the potential that more people end up getting Netflix accounts because more people quit. Like, let's say you're using your mom's, you and your 2 brothers are using your mom's, and you guys are all in college or off, whatever. And she's like, I don't want it anymore. What if that resulted in 3 more Netflix accounts, resulting in a bonus of 2? You know?
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, so first I want to touch on that point.
Let's go over Netflix earnings. As a whole.
So the first thing is that I really feel like Netflix was one of the first on the scene to the streaming. To the streaming. They already had a pretty loyal base from like the DVD, like everyone already had known kind of like what Netflix was. And then they added the streaming service. And I felt like, at least for me, they were one of the first streaming services around and the first one that I ever had. So for the last, I'm going to say honestly, probably had more than half a decade, probably closer to a decade. All they've had is just people being added and added and added, and more subscribers.
I say around a decade's perfect. Because 2012 is, I think, when it really started to become popular. When everyone, that's became, and then around 2014, 2015, just became their main source of TV aside from, sports. Dude, I remember I one of my jobs I used to do was a door-to-door AT&T salesman. One of the main things we sold was internet and direct TV. But like that was the main thing. The only thing people use TV for is sports. And everything else is via streaming.
Yeah, exactly. And so I felt like it's one of those things where because they were first on the scene and they already had a built up customer base, they really didn't have to try super hard to grow. Because they were just growing naturally. Then this is the first quarter that we've really seen them not only did they lose subscribers, obviously they didn't gain any. So this is one of those things where, they're kind of at a pivotal time, because if you remember, one of the headlines that came out recently was that they were going to figure out a way for people to stop sharing accounts. Now, I don't know. I think we talked about it. I don't know how they plan on doing that, but could you imagine if that more pisses people off and they just leave the streaming platform altogether? It kind of feels like they're at a really pivotal spot. As we've talked about year to date, they're down 41% year to date. And
it's only 40. I mean, they're down 22% today.
Well, that's even before the earnings came out. So we'll see what they're down, after.
Dude, hey, you're talking to the quick math guy right here. What was it at the beginning of the year? Let's see.
600?
So on January 1st, it looks like it was around 600. Now, it's down 50%. And that was at 300. So now around 60%. Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, okay, so they're down 60%. Now they're a really, really pivotal spot, because if next quarter they grow, then it's one of those things where, this could be an amazing dip buy. But could you imagine a world where, what if they come out with some security where it's you can't share passwords, and again, that just pisses people off and they end up leaving the
well, you got to think if they make it that you can't share passwords, that's meant for families. So let's make it so IP address plus, a mile, just to be case, whatever the case may be. If they find a way to make sure it's just families, if they do that, they would absolutely have to make the price per month $5. So, that is definitely something you have to take into account. Because what do you think and I don't know if there's a study for this or actual data. I'll look it up. What do you think the average users per Netflix account is? I'd say 1.8, maybe 2.2.
Yeah. I would say that's probably about fair.
Average users per Netflix account. At least 72% of Netflix households have more than one user on the account. It's most common for homes with sharing account. I can't find an average, but as of 2020, Netflix users watched an average of 3.2 hours of video per day and 6 billion collective hours per month. Although as of 2020, I don't know what part of 2020, most of it was done with COVID, so we'll just assume. But still, the fact that over 10% of the day for over 70% for a shit ton of fucking Americans was spent on that app is insane. That's half of their work day.
Yeah. That's wild, because that's a pretty big number per day, because you got to figure, you're probably at least 11 hours.
Yeah, no, of their waking hours, let's say 16. 3.2 hours of video per day. Netflix, that was in 2020. Obviously, people were home a lot more, but of the amount of time they were awake, let's say you're up 15 hours for easy math, that's 20% of it that you're on that app. That's insane. Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But I guess it goes to show that I guess it goes to show that necessarily it doesn't matter. The other thing is that Netflix also raised their prices, which I thought that that would obviously help revenue. But it goes to show that clearly they lost. 200,000 is a pretty big number. So
and
it goes to show
$1.50 a month from $14
well,
to $15.50.
But you figure they've never not had more subscribers quarter over quarter. So in that sense, it would have made sense that historically they should have knocked this earnings out of the park, because all they had to do was not lose subscribers, and that's the exact thing that they did.
Yeah, and if you're wondering about history prices. Price raise history for Netflix, in October 2015, so about doubled in 7 years, $8.99 to $9.99. In October 2017, which is the next one, so 2 years later, $9.99 to $10.99, and then around a year and a half after that, January 2019 went from $10.99 to $12.99. Then the COVID times of October, $12.99, $13.99, to now what we're at of $15.50 now. So almost up, around 80% from October 2015. But I mean, I just think now's the wrong time to do it. You're seeing these other streaming platforms get hot,
Yeah.
And, HBO, they're having a lot of really hot stuff right now. HBO Max, Amazon Prime, a lot of hot stuff. When they lost fuck, dude. Can you imagine just the streaming hours that The Office saw? I mean, probably the most rewatchable show on Netflix ever. And now it's strictly Peacock. I mean, I'm sure that was a crazy bidding war.
Yeah, I really don't even know what Netflix can do. I don't know what any of the streaming platforms can do to kind of differentiate themselves, except for pay an exuberant amount for those good shows that everybody likes. The Office, Friends, Seinfeld,
and you
whatever.
need the stuff that people are talking about. Like that's why I said HBO Max. The one show that's coming out right now, Winning Time, the show about the Lakers. I mean, that's what people are talking about on the Mondays. That's the show that comes out on Sunday, and it's probably the best week-to-week show right now that we've seen in a while. And, it's all about who has it. And who has it right now, it's fucking HBO Max. Yeah. Like, what was the last Netflix show that was the hot topic? It was Tiger King, right?
Yeah. And but the thing, though, is that, like, it's kind of like style trends. Like, obviously you could have, like, an actor that everybody likes and stuff, and that'll draw interest. But you don't really know like what show's gonna catch. You know what I mean? Like there's so many new shows all the time that like we're really not sure what'll catch. So I think, obviously there's tons of money inside the streaming space because everybody has a streaming account. However, it's really interesting because I don't know how you differentiate yourself from the other ones. You really only need like a small piece of the pie.
The thing Netflix has right now that separates them from the other ones, I guess, is, and I'm not an expert at all the fucking streaming services, but there's no commercials whatsoever on Netflix. The others, they'll have like an ad before. I think HBO might, and it's nothing crazy. But I mean, aside from that, that may be, I guess, what it has on Hulu, but at this point, it's like, I feel like the average person isn't, against spending an extra $2 a month or $25 to $30 a year to save themselves hours of time, on getting the Hulu premium or whatever it may be.
I would love to hear because it's clear that Netflix has to do something. They have to do something, but so I would love to hear like what kind of ideas that they have in mind, because I just don't know what you do. Like I said, I just don't know how you differentiate yourselves. And now that you've stopped growing, I mean, what do you do? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you stop growing. What do you do? I mean, they answered that. They raised the price.
Yeah, but who cares
like
if you're going to lose another 200,000 subscribers?
Yeah, no, for sure. So
I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, I'll still subscribe to Netflix, man. Like, as long as Netflix and chilling's a thing, I'll be chilling too. And another thing, and I'm not sure when this is getting put in because this is post-production. We didn't really notice this at the time or just forgot to mention it. They also are expecting to lose 2 million users in the next quarter, which obviously is 10 times more than the 200,000 that they lost in Q1, which would be a massive blow. And guidance is obviously a massive part of any earnings report. So that is also something to take massive account into. So I guess with that being said, I think it's something interesting to take account into is the effect of like the post-COVID world on stocks. Obviously now, speaking of post-COVID, we're seeing no mask on airplanes become a thing. Thank God.
Sick.
Yeah. Awesome. No opposite of sick. Not sick. So things like that. Do you have any opinion on that before we kind of get into the post-COVID world? Like obviously just aside from just convenience.
Yeah. I think that's good because I think that let me say it. At the beginning of the year, it was clear that people weren't traveling because of the restrictions.
The airports are the only place where it's still all mask, and now it's not.
Yes.
I think this is the last place to finally change, which is nice. Because I went to hella doctors' offices that didn't even require that.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so I think that's good. But see, on the flip side, I don't know. Like I was even looking at some ticket prices, and they're still super expensive, and they'll probably remain super expensive. Mostly because, of a few things, but the price of oil is still pretty damn high, and the price of gas. And so when you look at the airline industry, it's really tough because that's one of the only expenses that is really variable. I'm a huge fan of Carl Icahn on HBO. They have his what is it? Not autobiography, but like his documentary about him. And one of the only things that man failed at was owning an airline. He's been in like literally every industry around. He's taken over some of the largest companies that we know. And one of the only things that he failed at was airlines. And one of the things that he talked about was that it was too much people management and some of the variable costs, some of the expenses. You can't really plan for it. And so what we're seeing with the airlines that they're still super expensive. So I think that this quarter will be really interesting to see because obviously everybody was waiting to travel. Now that we can travel and stuff, are we willing to pay those exorbitant prices to be able to travel? Or are these crazy prices still going to, or are they going to be high enough to where it's like the average person is like, oh, great. Now that we can travel, I can't travel. Because of the prices. So I don't know. What do you think? You think that people will pay like I was looking like to Florida from New Jersey. It was like $1,500 for like 2 airplane tickets. That's ridiculous. And that's probably like double, triple normal.
Yeah. So one of my things is I usually when I'm flying now, it's always just to go home, and it's just to Mobile, which is like a small ass airport, usually pretty cheap there in Pensacola. So it's like I'm not seeing like $700, but that is from Houston to Alabama, a lot less than New Jersey to Florida. But my experience with airline prices prior to COVID isn't great. I did not travel. I didn't have any money before COVID, so I actually have no idea of like the average ticket price prior to COVID, honestly. I was traveling a good bit at the beginning of COVID, which was nice because it was like, if you didn't like your seat, you could just walk wherever the fuck you wanted for a whole row. There's probably 30 to 40 people on like 250 passenger planes.
Wow.
Like,
that's insane.
My first plane ride by myself and first plane ride in over 10 years was my first time going to visit you. There was no one on those planes.
Yeah, literally no one. Okay, all right. So speaking about what we just talked about, I just found this is from the Thrillist.com. I don't know if that's really if they're good. Yeah, exactly. An article from March 30th said flight prices have already increased 40% since January and will continue to rise. Like that's and that was 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
which is just nuts. They're saying
is that a supply and demand thing or is that an oil thing? If people are willing to pay, because I haven't been on any plane rides recently where there's hella spots open, unless, like I said, I'm just going somewhere where no one's going.
Yeah. Well, I think it does have to do mostly with where fuel prices are, because if you think about it, it's not like one of those things where if you raise, let's just say, like the cost of peanuts, okay, you can account for, okay, it's $2 extra per passenger. All right, fine. So you just raise it, the $2 or whatever. This is more of one of those things where like, hey, listen, it could be, literally gas is double what it used to be. So it's one of those things where it could be like, hey,
if your car takes premium gas and you complain about that, imagine what a fucking airplane takes.
Yeah, exactly. And so the thing with that is that most of the time when people are buying airplane tickets, it's kind of like a futures contract. You're paying for the future price of what it's worth. So right now with oil prices going up and gas prices being, double what they were, you're probably going to pay a pretty strict premium because people, the airlines don't know what gas will be at. So if gas were to double from here, I mean, that's, obviously, that would, I'm going to go out on the limb and say that that's probably not going to happen. However, it's one of those things where the airlines don't know. So when they're estimating, they're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're kind of expecting that they're expecting the worst, hence why the prices are going up so much. The other thing that I probably think played a part inside the lessening of the mask mandates, or like really just getting rid of the mask mandates, is that they're inside early data for the quarter. They're probably seeing ticket sales slow down. And so when you see ticket sales slow down, that's when you start to see, or at least in my opinion, is that's when you start to see those CEOs, calling out to the White House and calling out to Congress, writing them letters saying, let's get rid of these masks, let people travel, to at least try and, get people interested in traveling again. Because again, you're starting to see, they probably started to see where, oil prices, gas prices were going up so much. So they needed like that new wave of people. You know what I mean?
I guess it gets people talking, but I mean, how many people do you think are anti-mask enough to be like, I would rather drive 16 hours than go 3 hours on a fucking airplane? I mean, gas
honestly,
but take this into account too. Yeah, gas prices are high, but that takes into account for your drive as well. I mean, I did the math. I was thinking like, yo, dude, if we go to like New Orleans or Gulf Shores or something, it's around the same price if I did the gas or if we just did a, regular ass fucking economy seat to, same place.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you're saying. I think being inside the Northeast, COVID was a little different, especially towards the end. Like there was still like I don't know how the South is, but like there's still a good amount of people walking around with like masks on outside, which whatever,
oh, no,
do whatever you want.
But mask anywhere here.
Yeah, do whatever you want. But I think it's like one of those things where like people still around, at least where I live, like in the Northeast, are still walking around with like masks on. So I think there is a good amount of people that it's a big deal to them. It's a big deal to them that mask mandate is off on airplanes. Like when you talk I don't know if I think they used to listen, but my neighbors, they seriously weren't traveling because they still didn't feel comfortable traveling yet because of COVID. And again, do whatever.
So do you think making everyone not wear a mask would make them more comfortable?
Yeah, I really don't.
Because I mean, that's I feel like old people travel a good bit, and maybe this is the thing that makes them be like, "Yo, I mean, if everyone's not wearing masks, we don't want to risk getting sick."
Yeah. I mean, that's the other side to this, for sure. Is that on the other hand, people that are still super worried about COVID and stuff, this could totally deter them. I don't know. I really don't know what to think, but I think it'll be really, really interesting. One thing for damn sure, I don't want to own nothing right now as far as individual stocks go. I mean, I don't want to own airlines. I don't want to own tech. Like right now, right now, there's just so much uncertainty, which obviously we talk about. There's so much uncertainty that I'm gonna let everybody else figure it out, and then I'll either scoop up the bottom, or once things relax a little bit, then I'll go long. Even if I pay a premium, I'm fine with it. But one thing's for damn sure, I'm not, especially after Netflix. Like I said, if I was a betting man, I probably would have gone.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected 200,000 user loss to make it drop 25%, over $100, and multiplied by whatever the fucking market cap is, or however many shares are. Like that is so much.
They lost like
money.
30 billion, I think, inside. I think they lost 30 billion so far in market cap. So,
insane.
So basically that's what I'm saying is that I don't want to find the bottom on any of these things. I mean, it's just wild. This has clearly been a year of just absolute carnage across the board. I don't know. It is just wild. I mean, seriously, Netflix at this point will be underneath 200 by the end of the week. So
don't like
wild.
that. I kind of thought some. Speaking of which, let's check just so everyone knows what it's at now.
I wonder how Mark Randolph is doing.
Oh yeah, we forgot. Yeah, everyone go check out. We interviewed the founder of Netflix a long time ago.
I just
Mark
looked up
Randolph.
Netflix stock or whatever. He came right up. Founder Mark Randolph.
I forgot all about that, dude. Man, yeah, great guy. And you pissed him off because you said, "So you did all this for just making them and selling them?" He's like, "No." He's like, "That's the opposite of why I did it."
Yeah. Well, listen. Like, I honestly don't understand why Like we're just asking questions. Like I'm not trying to piss this guy off, but I don't know.
That'd be like us talking to like a civil rights activist and be like, I did it for this, and I did it for the people, and I want America to be fair, and I like justice and blah blah blah. And you're like, so public speaking fees? You just really like to public speak or what? He's like, well, no, what the fuck is
Listen, it's the same thing about AOC, okay? And again, we're not getting political, but it's the same thing, okay? AOC, she's for the people and she's for all this. But then Kevin O'Leary calling her out for being a capitalist because she's selling $70 sweatshirts. $70 sweatshirts, and she's making like a 89% margin.
She was the one that wore the burn, eat the rich.
Yes, exactly. It's like one of those things where it's like, listen, your heart could be in the right place, but don't tell me that there's not like a little side motive here. Like, don't tell me that sweatshirt costs $70 to make. Yeah, you're still making a fuck ton.
Dude, I remember when we were making our shit, we were like our shirts and shit. I was like, dude, I don't want to charge fucking more than $19.99 for one of these t-shirts because it's like, why are we having we shouldn't have to make money on these t-shirts. We just kind of wanted to get them out, and we were like, dude, we don't need to charge shit for them. We just kind of wanted to get word out. And that's the thing, is that's why we didn't do the Nike shit. Instead we did Champion. We wanted a nice quality, but still didn't want to charge $75 for a sweatshirt.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Long story short, we're a lot better than the politicians that America has. So vote Dan and Hugh.
Listen, if that's our baseline, we're fucked.
No, that means we're really good dudes if that's our baseline.
Listen, our politicians suck.
Yeah, we need to power rank our politicians sometime.
Oh, that would be fun.
So going back to the post-COVID world, what stocks do you think now that it seems like it's at a point where it's not a thing anymore? Do you think some stocks will drop like this on earnings? Whenever the truth is let out, when earnings report users, the amount of money they're making, whether it be Netflix or Amazon or, even the ones that went up a lot, that should have, let's say AMC, where people weren't going to the movie theaters, but now they can again. Shit like that,
So you're saying opening of plays and stuff?
Yeah, whether or not it's Netflix going down because everyone's not home all the time, or movie theaters going up because everyone can go to movie theaters again. Sports betting. Obviously it's at a point where it's been 2 fucking years, so it's not like it's right as it's opening up. But I think today seeing Netflix drop so much is kind of eye-opening in a sense. COVID's over. And a lot of these fucking plays that we saw, whether go up or down a lot, may go back to where they were beforehand. Because, you saw during COVID, Netflix was at over $700. And like you said, we may see under 200 this week.
Yeah. So I think 2 things to take into consideration. First off being that I believe that what COVID did to most industries is that the ones where the industry was a dying industry, like malls, maybe like AMC and some of the movie theaters, it was just everything that was happening just was kicked in the ass 10 times faster. So like I said, is that malls were forced to shut down, but it was already a dying industry because of online sales. Movie theaters, for instance, like we're not seeing tons of people like, oh, I can't wait to go to the movies again.
Yeah, they're
like,
releasing them through the streaming services.
Exactly. So I think that what COVID did was like it just sped up what was already going to happen. Like one of the things that we always mentioned was that COVID forced grandparents and older people to start using Amazon Prime Amazon Prime, for like 1 day shipping. And what we saw with that was that they ended up loving it. And so that was something that probably wouldn't have happened without COVID. So, in my opinion, I think it's one of those things where, the sore thumbs will stick out in both directions, whether it be good or the bad. And I don't know. I think that transportation will be good, but I think that transportation needs oil prices obviously need to come down. And then I think that transportation is probably like the place to be. Like Carnival's had a pretty good bounce back, but I don't see Carnival's had a good bounce back, but I think it's one of those things where like you don't need to catch bottom on it, but we will have a really nice trade and a potential like really good investment opportunity.
Do you think
for like,
I don't know. I feel like carnivals aren't really that big anymore. Obviously you can't have little people in them because that's like disrespectful.
I meant the carnival yacht or ship, whatever they're called.
Oh shit. Okay, next topic. My bad. I got we're from different parts of America. Alabama, we still love our carnivals. But,
I would love to go to a carnival, honestly.
I think mainly you have fairs now, but. Hey guys, if you're tired of trimming your stocks too early, well, let me tell you something. Never worry about trimming anything early ever again with Manscaped. Let me tell you about their Performance Package 4.0. It comes with free boxers, a toiletry bag, and free shipping with a little discount when you use code PGIR. It comes with the razor you need, the sprays you need. Dude, clearly I can't show you guys what's going on down there, but if I could, man, you guys would be amazed. Wireless charging, it's waterproof. Take it in the shower for all I care. It's going to get you right. It's got the light. The Lawnmower 4.0 is the best trimmer I have ever used. And that's not all it comes with. It comes with hella other shit. Like the boxers. Look, I get it. Not all of us are boxer guys. Give it to your girl. She'll like them too. But man, when it comes with the weed whacker, that shit's for your nose or ears. You could, God, Manscaped has something for every hole and crevice of your body. So make sure to use code PGIR on manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping. That's code PGIR on manscaped.com. Well, to kind of close this out, how long because we were just talking about it. You were talking about you don't want to be holding stocks. You want things to settle down. We're at a point right now where it's like a lot of things are trying to settle down. And then right as you think they're settled, just crazy shit happens. So where do you see the settling even happening?
Yeah. So here's the thing is that the market, like when you look at the market overall, the market's still holding up pretty nicely. But the underlying carnage is ridiculous, as we've seen from, Netflix, Facebook are just two prime examples. Absolutely smoked from highs. But overall, the market barely flinches on stuff in that. So it's one of those things where I think that the rest of the year we could see just individual names, just absolute carnage continue. And absolute carnage continue, but the overall market, stay relatively up, I think.
All right. Well, I really hope it, everything gets easier, but it does seem like a lot of people are, finally adjusting to the shit market. You saw so many people complaining, so many people just dying out there. But it just does seem like it's getting a little better for the trader side of things,
Yeah, no, it is because there's more opportunities. There's definitely more opportunities out there, and on top of that, on top of there being more opportunities, there's more of a trend to follow, which obviously we like.
All right. Well, one more thing. Speaking of Facebook, got a new Facebook item today. Do you want to see it?
Yeah, let me see it.
Actually, Zach gave it to me. He bought 3 pairs. I got one, but yeah, here. Okay, here we go.
Let me see it.
I didn't even know they had these. So I remember they had the idea of them a while ago. And these charge in here. Ray-Ban Meta glasses. Play music.
Sick.
They take pictures. Apparently I wasn't charging them the whole time though. They take pictures and videos and send it to your phone. Yeah, pretty cool.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, who were they by? Versace, you said?
No,
or something?
Ray-Bans. They're Ray-Bans.
Yeah.
They're only $300, but yeah, they send the pictures to your phone and shit. Oh, wait, there's the power button.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so we'll check these out. We'll let you know how they are. We'll give a review. But yeah, guys, appreciate everyone tuning in. Hope you have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all on Sunday. And make sure to pay your taxes. That day was yesterday. 2 days. Peace.
Pennies Going in Raw is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.